Koto tena koto tena koto katotoa, and that's a Maori greetings. My name is Ola Leasi. It means the salvation. And my Palangi teacher called me Ola. It means the life. I will base my story on Pacifica cultural values and practices. These values are similar to one another, the way they are shared and practiced. For my Samoan world, for instance, these cultural practices and values are meaningful to us. They are centralized to Christian values and practices to embrace morally and culturally appropriate manners. As an outcome of these cultural practices and values, there are a number of barriers that prevent Pacific women to their full potential. I have chosen the 4 main significant barriers, and they are as follows. First, the culture. It's a general word. Anyway, women in Samoa were not literally recognized in decision making unless they are granted or being bestowed a matai name or a chief name. Again, they have been given the status of being a matai, but rarely a full potential to share decision making. They are seen but not heard. The second barrier, family situation. The husband, the father, the uncle, the brother is always regarded as the head of the family or each family household. The men will be the first to have their meal while with the children, while the youth members serve. And you're lucky if you're the daughters of the family, you will have your meal at the same time with men. However, the sister-in-laws or the in-laws will be the last group to have their meals, where they socialize and enjoy their gossips. The third barrier is the social barrier. Women are conscious of what they wear, what they say, where they sit, when to speak, their status and so forth. Why? It is because of their awareness of people's perception of them and what is expected of them. In the case of sister-in-laws, they are regarded as the observers. This depends on the family. If the family is a nice family, it's a Christian family, they regard their sister-in-laws or the in-laws as just sisters to the family. But if that is a typical family, then the in-laws, the sister-in-laws or the women are always seen at the kitchen. They've never been at the front house. In the village setting, there is a group of women called awaluma. This is their only space and time of their own without the interference of the men or their husbands. And then at the end of the day, they go back to their routines. And the fourth barrier, women will be literally recognized and being heard in decision making if they become elders or deacons. Women in Samoa, for instance, were not entitled to train or become a church minister. It is culturally sensitive to the Samoan cultural beliefs and practices and the situation with modesty. All these barriers create feelings and assumption and culture that men are hierarchy, men are the head of each family. It causes men to be violent to women, wives and sisters. Sometimes men use culture to bully women and their cultural beliefs. Again, we have been taught by the missionaries to be modest. It is the influence of the missionary teaching and how the Bible was translated to Pacifica languages that influence the interpretations on the role and the position of women in the cultural settings. Now, these barriers, beliefs and assumptions were not challenged. It became a culture. Nowadays, Pacifica women in New Zealand context and Pacifica context are educated. Pacifica women are now ministers then in the Presbyterian Church in New Zealand. Hooray to the Presbyterian Church. And as a young minister's wife, I am caught between these barriers, but I have the guts and the help of the Holy Spirit to educate and share with our mothers and daughters in our Pacifica languages and English, to educate and to empower our Pacific women to merge from hurt to hope. Whawhitai lava, tēnā koutou katotoa.